All right. What is a boiler?
Boiler is a pressure vessel where you use the products of combustion or combustion process to heat water for steam, change water to steam for either process heating or comfort heat.
Okay. What are the requirements of a good boiler?
You must size the boiler to the load, good heat transfer, um, make sure that you've got adequate heating surface for heat exchange and adequate space for drafting, and also make sure it's in safe and it's constructed safe.
Okay. Okay. Great. So just to reiterate that, we want to say that a requirements of a good boiler is that it must be able to expand and contract as it heats and cools down, that is sized properly for the load, that the water and steam spaces of adequate size to allow the water to separate from the steam, or the steam to separate from the water as it leaves the drum, that the heating surfaces are designed in such a capacity that allows the greatest heat absorption and allow the flue gases to flow freely throughout the boiler, passing off its heat through the heating surfaces and out the stack or to any other heat exchange surfaces that may be listed within the boiler setting. And that is designed in a safe capacity of good workmanship of materials that deems it safe to operate. What is meant by radiant heat, convection heat, and conduction heat?
Radiant heat is where the object is being radiated through a means of infrared radiation. Convection is using air currents to transfer heat to an object, while conduction is heat by touch.
Okay, exactly. The only thing I would add, I would change the way you say radiant heat. Radiant heat is heat through waves directly to the object in front of it. It has to be within sight. No different than if you're standing in front of the sun, you feel the heat from the sun is 93 miles away. But if you step to the side or direct sight, you could be almost you not in the sun's heat. So if we step into the shade, the sun is blocked. Or if the cloud blocks the sun, you don't feel the heat if you're directly in front of it. Or like if you open up if you have a radiant heater, those waves are only going to warm what's directly in front of it. And convection is through waves.
Yes,
That's
air.
through waves, not radiant. Convection is through waves, and you use a fan to kind of blow those hot waves around. And then conduction is through body to body touch. What is a fire tube boiler? Describe a fire tube boiler.
Fire tube boiler is where the heat or the flame is within the tubes to heat the water up, where the water is outside the tube.
Okay. Describe what is a exposed type tube fire tube boiler? Or talk to me about a wet back Scotch Marine and a dry back Scotch Marine.
Wet back and dry back is where you have the water on the backside of the boiler. A dry back, it's basically dry, but the wet back is more for refractory or keeping the heat within the cavity of the boiler. Dry back is it has no, it's just basically a bare surface, but the heat is contained within a refractory type of cavity. But the wetback is more, you got a water, it's like a water jacket.
Exactly. And that water jacket does what to the heating surface?
Cools the heating surface.
And it increases it.
Okay.
Because if you have hot gases on one side and water on another, you have just created a heating surface.
Okay.
Any part of the boiler that has hot gases on one side and water or steam on the other is a heating surface. Because heat will be exchanged between
Yes.
that surface.
That would be what's that, the second law or the first law of thermodynamics?
The first law of thermodynamics is that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, just transferred from one form to
Right.
another.
And
The
it's-
second law is energy downgrades. Heat always flows from a hot substance to a cooler substance.